Hello everybody, how's it going? It's going well for me. It's a beautiful day. I hope it's a beautiful day for you. It's my first day back into the work system since this whole virus thing went down, and it was interesting for sure it was. Overall good vibes though, I have to say, and one thing I realized is that sometimes security theater's needed. I'm not a huge fan of it usually, because I'm a strong believer that 99% of the world is full of great people, and like you have a better chance of winning the lottery than you do meeting a purely evil person. So like when you have those terrorist attacks, or when you have just awful things that people don't understand why they happen, well, you don't understand why they don't happen because it's so rare. But we tend to knee-jerk reaction, and we tend to do things to prevent that and prevent other things, like, you know, such as this COVID, right? We don't want people to get sicker and die, but I mean, really, we want the economy to go, right? So it's like we can't all stay in our bubbles. Well, how do we trick people into thinking everything's okay, so not everyone's being afraid and moving on? You do security theater, right? So that's how my day started. We had to wait in this big line, right, all behind each other. You know, some people had masks, some didn't, whatever. And you know, this is just to get into the plant, right? I work in this plant. I'm not going to go into too much details because I don't really respect the company I work for. So, but they pay my bills, and there's a lot of good things that come from them. That being said, yeah, we're waiting in line, you know, breathing each other's air because everyone's got to be in this narrow funnel thing, and then they give us a mask to wait in another line, and then they tell us to take the mask off so they can check our temperature, because, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a symptom or not. Like, you have a fever, that's one guy you can get rid of, and that makes someone feel better. Although nothing happened, everyone was fine, everyone went through. And yeah, people are saying there's a good chance we'll be shut down, there'll be cases arising, and yeah, that's probably a likelihood. But you can only control so much of what you can control, right? So I'm looking at today like a good day. You know, I got to earn $1. I got to, more importantly, reconnect with people I haven't been able to reconnect with in forever. And connections are so important, like so important. And it was really nice. There was a lot more positivity than, you know, you would think when you watch the news and you watch all that cycles of YouTube and whatnot. And everyone's got an opinion on things, but more importantly, nobody wanted to talk about it. People just wanted to, you know, live, as they say. So, yeah, we did the security theater. Everybody wore masks. There was no heroes. Like, nobody was being ridiculous by being like, oh, I'm not wearing this is all fake. You know, everyone's got their personal beliefs, but it's important to respect, you know, the authority of where you work, unfortunately. And if you don't like it, change it. And that's kind of what this podcast is about, right? Because my issue in the past is bad attitude. That's what it breaks down to, right? And when you have a bad attitude, you don't realize how bad of an attitude you actually have. Like, you look at it, you're like, yeah, sometimes I got a shitty look. But, you know, I have good days. It's like, no, it's an overall attitude. And, I would say I hate my job. And when you hate something, it means you don't want it to exist. And honestly, I meant it. A lot of times I meant it, but then I looked at it and it's like, what is it that I hate? It's not the people I work with. You know, there's a handful of douchebags, but, I mean, for the most part, people are great. You know, like, great friendships and connections, and a lot of people will give you the shirt off their back, right? Like, that's just how the world works. That's how most people are. And so it's like, I'm not hating the people. Well, what the, what do I hate? My job? I put in 4 fucking bolts. So it's like, the job itself, it's not like it's challenging. Do I hate that it's not challenging? Probably not. You know, I don't want a challenging job. I want to talk and explore the world. What I hate about the job is the restrictions and the control it has over me. And the control I allowed it to have over me. Right? Like, me and my friends, we would talk and we think in the past, you know, like how to take the system down and how the system's fucked up and how, like, and a lot of these are true, man. Like the Illuminati, you might not believe it, but it's true. It's a real thing. Deal with it. And what I mean by that is that you were born into this world, and you're born into the corruption that it is. But again, when you break it down, when you look to your neighbor, or you look to your right, you look to your left, 90% of those people, especially strangers, are great people. So why, like when I say the Illuminati in this corrupt system, what's going on? Well, a handful of people, right, and in many different forms of way, to many different forms of level, have come up with, sorry, I'm driving if I seem a little distracted, have come up how to use the system in their advantage. You know, I work, like I said, I work for the company. I'm not going to tell you the company, but I've met a lot of great people there. And a lot of great people with similar dreams. You know, not the same as mine. You know, they don't want to talk and be famous and whatever. Like, they don't want that. They want to be up north in a grid, or off the grid, friggin', you know, fishing on a lake. And you can make those dreams come true. And the way we do it is by pooling our dreams and our trust and our honesty together. You know, like those are important. Crap, traffic. Alright, well, I got nothing to do but talk, right? And yeah, you pool those dreams, and like, well, I don't, you know, like some are harder than others, and you got to figure out how to get there, and the hustle, and to use your time efficiently. Holy smokes, it dead stop much. But yeah, to use your time efficiently, not officially, dumbass. But yeah, so you know, I think it's important to do that, and it's also important to get stuff out there. Like I'm, you know, I let my fears control me. That's another thing. That's a common thing with the people I know. Is that again, we're great people. They'll give you the shirt off our backs. You know, we want to see each other prosper. We want a better world, not just for ourselves, but the ones around us. And I mean, everyone's like that to a degree, right? And then only once you do that and you pool it together, then you have a community. And once you have a community, you know, it's hard to break that. Or in other people, they have a brand, they have a whatever. Like, you just have a group of people that have a passion and a desire to help each other. And that's what my goal is, right? And that's what my goal's been for a couple weeks now. And what started this goal was a fucking 10-minute ab workout. Yeah, 10 minutes. And now I'm doing a podcast with the only person listening to it is probably me. But I'm still doing it. I've always wanted to try it. I wanted to, you know, go out and get my feet wet. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But it's important to find out what I want to do and what my dreams are, so I can help other people achieve their dreams. Because that's ultimately what I want. I want a world where I own nothing. I don't want to own anything. I want to be able to go to a person that I've befriended, that I love, and go to their place and see their things and shoot the shit with them and talk to them and share their experiences, right? Like that's what we want. Like, yeah, I tend to get off track. So if you are going to listen to this podcast, know one thing about me: I don't work linear. I don't work like a story. I'm more like a thought bubble or a thought experiment. You know, in like grade school when you had to do those webs, like those thought webs to help you actually get shit down and write it down and whatnot. I gotta be careful here. There's some accident. Shit, don't ruin my tires. Man, that's unfortunate. Anyway, where was it? Yeah, thought bubble. That's how my mind works. So I'm gonna bounce from here to here. And you're like, well, John, maybe you should write your shit down. And you're not wrong. I tried doing that. And then I tried writing a script. And the script, it's not for me, man. I'm not a scripted person. Like, I can rehearse things in my head, but when I go down to actually record it, even if it's written down, I no longer like how it was recorded or written down. Like, it doesn't feel authentic. It's, even though it is, it doesn't feel that way. Like, it feels me when I'm just rambling on. So with this, the goal of this podcast is to get my voice out there, to get the dream out there, a dream many people have had and many people will continue to have, and I want to help have. This podcast won't all be just ramblings, you know, but it will be stuff you talk in a carpool. You know, I don't know what to call it. I was thinking downtime because I did a show with my buddy YouTube years ago called Downtime. I thought maybe carpool podcast. I don't know. The title's not fucking important. What's important is getting the shit out there and getting my voice out there. And my fears tend to overtake a lot of that. Like, they're like, you know, I gotta second guess myself, or I'm worried that people won't get my dream, won't understand where I'm coming from. And to my fucking surprise, people do. Right? They don't know how to do it either. Like, this is literally, if you're listening to this, this is the beginning of an empire. Like, it's so, like, it might just be a tiny little, like, little circle that made it to Ontario or made it to the city of Hamilton. You know? An empire isn't like freaking Costco. It isn't Jeff Bezos. They're their own thing. And yes, they have a community of his own stuff. And he built his empire doing the same thought process as I'm doing. But I want my community, or this empire, I want it to be one of love and trust and respect and open discussion. Because one great thing about my friends is we challenge each other. We have very different opinions on very polarizing things, you know, such as the COVID, you know, but instead of being, you know, nards about it and freaking trying to, you know, one up the other person and being like, oh, I'm going to walk into a Costco with no mask and prove my point. It's like, no, dumbass. That's not how, you don't put other people in fear to do that. You know, and the other way around, you don't belittle someone when they're trying to fight for what they believe is their freedom. What you do is you educate on both ends, and then you come to a compromise. That's how the world works, and people veer from that, right? But again, it's good to challenge, and that's what I want. I want, again, a people that can trust and love and respect each other and challenge each other. I think that's super important. So, I don't know what the audio quality of this is going to be, and I don't know how well it's going to sound on the other end. I'm not going to give it an opportunity. I'm just going to shut her down and send it into the world. It's really hard, though, to start from the beginning. You know, but a lot of it starts with the mindset. When I said with that 10-minute abs, you know, the 2 months off for me was huge. That first month, all I did was fucking recover. Because the job I work for, it eats away at my body, my soul, my mind. They have you working 10 to 12 hours a day because you're working for someone else's dream. Some dead man's dream, bro. That's what I'm doing. I'm feeding a dead man's dream. And, like, we all do it. A lot of us, are the ones in my shoes at least. You know, and, you know, it's fine to do it. You know, it's fine for people to learn earlier to realize, hey, that's not for me. You know, I have my own dreams. And some of us don't learn that. And some of us are okay. But me and a group of people I know, and you, hopefully the one listening to this, don't feel that way. And we want to be able, you know, we've learned, we've made mistakes, and that's what life is. You continue to learn and grow. But eventually you got to fucking pick yourself up. Be like, hey, I got to do this. And it's going to be fucking hard. You know, like to put up a podcast, I'm a perfectionist with certain things, right? Like, I like to edit. I like to make sure when I post it, it's going up, it's going to be good. It's going to be what I would love to hear on the other end. It's to a T. You know, and then I also worry about, I'm like, oh, but what are people going to think, man? They might think I'm some right-wing whack job, or they think I'm like some left-tard. Like, what? Like, you know, because I have strong opinions on both sides. There's times where I agree on both sides. Like, and I understand. I'm like, yep. That's, you know, and I'm not going to get into it with this podcast. This is just me introducing myself to the world. But I can't do it alone. And I've been going around asking people. And like I said, it started with a 10-minute workout, 10-minute ab workout. And it wasn't like, you know, I open it and the guy in the front's like, hey, this is how I'm going to get you in shape. No, he didn't say fuck all. He sat on a mat and showed me 4 or 5, whatever, handful of exercises that you can do in a 10-minute thing that it will help you get your abs. And I committed to it, which is also important, right? It's 10 minutes, man. And it's something I can do. You know, after I rested and recovered and realized, you know, I don't want to go back to the freaking car plants. I don't want to do this shit. You know, and I never did. And it's like, well, I've already been in quarantine for a month and I haven't figured fuck all out. I feel a little better. Like my body's feeling better, my mind, but like I'm still gonna have to go back to this shithole. Like, what's my plan? What are my goals? And you gotta look at yourself and like, I'm only good at putting in 4 bullets, man. Or 4 bullets. 4 bolts. Bolts, John. But yeah, like, it's like, well, what was I good before I did this? Well, I'm good at talking people's ears off, but I'm also scared to get my word out there, and the corona. So it's like, what could I had to go all the way back to high school. I was good at sit-ups. I could do sit-ups. So fuck it. That's what I did. 10 minutes of sit-ups. And then, like, it started leading to me being like, well, I want to eat healthier, too. Like, on my own. That was just like, the sit-ups are working, but, like, maybe I should, like, cut out starches. And I'm not saying that's for you, man. I'm not saying cutting out. I'm not going to tell you a diet plan. There's 100,000 fucking, like, I'm not telling you how to live. Listen to your body, right? And there's a difference between cravings and what your body wants. Like, your body and your brain are very different. You get caught in these routines where you think you're like, oh, this is what I want. And you know you don't want it because you don't feel better afterwards. Right? Like, you know when you've done something your body wants, when you immediately have reward from it. Like, such as doing a fucking workout. Like, everyone hates it beforehand. You're like, fuck. It's like the opposite of not doing what you're supposed to do. Because when you're not supposed to do it, you're like, oh, you want to do that. You're like, I'd rather play video games right now. And then you feel good right away and feel like shit after because you were up for fucking 8 hours being an idiot because you were just playing a virtual world, right? And hey, you spend your time the way you need to spend it, and that's a passion of yours, then 8 hours is a passion of yours. But to me, it was a waste of time. Like, I love video games, but I'm not the greatest gamer, not by any means. So, like, I'm not going to make money from it. It doesn't mean, and you don't have to be the greatest gamer to make money from games. You can review games, you can talk about storylines, you can make fucking conspiracy theories, such as Game Theory, that MatPat dude on YouTube. And they're not even good. He doesn't even do friggin' anything, but he's got millions of followers. Like, millions. And honestly, the last good conspiracy thing he had was about Mario being a communist. You could do that, and you could do it better. 100 times better. You take Metal Gear Solid, take the lore of that, and make your own conspiracies. My point is, if you have a passion for video games, do that. But if you don't have a passion for the things that you're wasting time on, and you're just wasting time to waste time like I do, then you're hurting yourself. And you're not listening to your body. You're not listening to what you're supposed to be doing. And so, again, starts off with a 10-minute workout, and then it's eating healthier. And then it's like, well, my mind's always cluttered. Well, why is my mind always cluttered? Because my house is cluttered. My house is a mess. So then I started wanting to clean things. And it's like, okay, well, now that some of my stuff's figured out, and I got to keep these routines of working out and keeping my mind and the house clean. So, I start writing stuff down, pen to paper. And I'm an awful writer. Like, where some people can't do public talking, and maybe I'm not good at that either, but I'm an awful writer, bro. I can't spell anything. I couldn't spell guinea pig. I have to go to Google to spell guinea pig, bro. Like, I am illiterate when it comes to a lot of things. I'm trying to grow and be better, but I'm writing for myself. And what I'm writing down is a habit, and I'm writing down what is it I want. So I go back to this drug trip. Yes, I've done drugs. I've never done heroin or meth or really any of those like super no-no drugs, but I've done my fair share of drugs, and it's not necessarily something I'm proud of, but I smoke weed daily. This is probably the first day I haven't gone in a long time. I do think they have their benefits, and I think they have their negativities, and you gotta roll with them, right? But not heroin and meth. You can't roll with those guys. They that's bad. Like, even no matter how strong your will is, it's a bad time. But like cocaine and like those party drugs is cool, once in a while. But again, you can get in a cycle, and that's bad. And So it's like, so I'm this druggie who friggin' is just learning to work out again, that only knows how to put in 4 bullets and has a dream. And it's like, okay, well, how do I fix some of that? I gotta look at myself. Look at the negatives. It's like, what don't I like about myself? I don't like how quickly, I get to anger when it comes to people I love. And you're like, what, John? And I'm like, yeah, I know that sounds weird, but I am more understanding to strangers and people's shoes that I haven't physically worn, because I can put myself in their shoes and I can relate to it. I take the time, because this person is a complete stranger. I'm not going to judge them off the bat, nor should you judge anybody. But the longer you know somebody, the more faults you know, and the more things that you see in yourself that you want to try to fix and get rid of. And like my home life especially, I look at my kids and I see a lazy fuck. That shit gets on my nerves, just like it got on my dad's nerves. And instead of, always taking the appropriate response, sometimes you get frustrated, right? So that's something I gotta fix about myself. How I hey, the people I care about, man, maybe I should, take it easy. And no, in case you're wondering, I don't do any physical harm. Like, I'm not that kind of monster, but I'll raise my voice to an uncomfortable, I've stomped my feet like a child. Like, I've expressed anger, and of course, this anger only just feeds into more anger. Like, it never fixes the problem. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem with frustration and anger. When you feed into negativity and you use negativity to feed into it, it doesn't fix it. Like, no matter how much you just want it to, or think it, like, it should just, hey, I would do it. Well, no, you wouldn't. You say you would, but it's because you got it repeatedly. You had to learn over and over again. And yeah, eventually you will learn, but you'll always know it in a negative term, and you'll always learn it and pass it on in a negative way, where when you've been taught and you take the time to enforce positive and teach positive, it breeds positive. But don't expect it instantly, right? When you've made a habit of negativity, when you bring positivity into it, you're going to get the habit back at you. That's the world fighting back at you. It's, you got to keep putting that positive out there. Like I was saying with, trying to figure out how to do this podcast and the fear-based, and I want to make everything nice and perfect. There's no damn app for that. It's funny because, shout out to an app that I have no affiliation with, but Splice, when I was doing my downtime with Frank and John, was easily the best app for editing. It was amazing. And that's part of me, what got me doing it was because there was a proper app that let me, tool the way I wanted the tool. Well, of course, the friggin' No Podcast wants to do that. They all want to be like some kind of a launching pad for hopefully they get the next great guy. So it's like, we're not going to help you edit it or anything. You got to go and figure out how you're going to do it yourself. Right? And they're all like that. They all say they'll edit it, but they won't let you take things and move it. Like, I got my boy DJ Blackleg, who makes music from scratch, bro. From scratch. It's not from an instrument. It's purely computerized, but he's making sound, and it's really impressive. And it was going to be at the beginning of my podcast, like a little clip, right? And I tried putting it on, and it was just fucking ear bleeding, bro, because it wouldn't let me adjust the volume through the thing. I had to use my What's Up app and play it. And again, they're like, oh yeah, you got to spend money, John. No, I don't. Not yet. I got to spend time. I don't have money, bro. That's why I got to go back to my work. I don't have money. You got to work with what the world gives you. And the world has given me great friends, who actually, I'm right behind one right now. His name's Vance. Solid dude. He's a vegan, loves animals. He's the one with the off-grid dream, man. He doesn't want to feed into the system, and I don't blame him. And he works where I do, and his body gets destroyed, but he cares about his body and mind. The guy, he's got cum gutters for days, bro. And if you don't know what that is, it's a Rick and Morty term for abs. He's got great abs. The guy's nearly 7 foot tall. He meditates, he does yoga. He might be the stereotypical, a new-aged hippie dude, but he's more than that. He's a real person. And, yeah, he checks off a lot of the hipster stuff, but he's not. He's not a hipster by any means. And he cares about these things, and he's got ideals, but he's stuck in the same trap I am. Well, we don't have ambition. Or, honestly, I didn't until COVID slapped me in the face. Gave me a rebirth. Man, that's what I needed, man. I had this ambition when I was 17, 18, and it got crushed. And it gets crushed easily, man. Anything can crush it. You know, like, you know, maybe you got the big dreams, and then all of a sudden you got a family, or all of a sudden you got a car that you got to pay for, you're stuck in a trap, and you don't understand why you got all this debt, and, like, now you just got to pay off the debt, and it's not about a dream, it's just being a part of the system, and, like, we all get caught there. And then what you do is, like, you try to numb that pain. Honestly, 5 years of me numbing that pain. And again, drugs, weed, alcohol. You know, buddy, I was doing 1 year for like a 3-month span. Not every day, but at one point, buddy, I was popping Molly just to get through a fucking day at work. Think about it, Molly. Right? It's like ecstasy. It's kind of like, it's a dancing cocaine drug is what Molly is, right? Like MDMA. So, you know, this is the shit I was doing just to have a good time in the fucking trap that I put myself into. And the thought bubble I put myself into. Like, I put myself in a scenario where I thought I couldn't get out of this. You know, I even, honestly, before this COVID thing, I was okay with just being part of the system. I finally got indoctrinated, as they put it. They're like, once you start working at these places, you know, all the new hires act the same, right? Like, they don't understand why we're getting screwed over. We realize the system's, it's all lies, you know, like, and again, it is. When you go into anything, right, like, you work for a company, and, like, here at Toyota, we care about you. Like, I just heard a commercial earlier, like, Subaru, we care about you. They don't give a fuck about us. Like, bro, they care about the dollar. But maybe at one time ago they did. You know, when Subaru, Toyota, Ford, Chevy, all the BMW, when they first started, guaranteed they cared about their people. That's where Ford got its reputation. You're like, yeah, man, buy America. You know, invest in their people. And then you find out, you know, 100 years later, they're the exact opposite. They don't invest in their workers. They hate the people that buy their cars. Like, hate them. They hate them. Because they're like, well, just buy another one. Don't return it. Just buy another. Fuck you. Send it. I don't care if it's broken. They ship out cars broken all the time. But I'm not here to vent about the auto industry or Walmart or whatever. Because the problem is, when you get caught in that cycle, that's all you're doing. You're just feeding into the cycle as you vent about it every day, and you take it home. And like I said, I was eventually ready to just accept, like, you know what? Oh, sorry. I accidentally honked. My horn just started working. Like 2 days ago. It wasn't working since I bought the car. But it works now, which is awesome news, and I just accidentally leaned on it. Like, again, negative breeds negative, and instead of complaining about the system, utilize the system. Use the people I meet at that I've met, and the friendships and the connections I've made at work, right? And use the place of employment to help jump off my platform, jump off where I'm going. Use them like they use me. You know, stop seeing them as the bad guys that they are, and just accept them as guys that are, you know, like, good can come out of evil and evil can come out of good. Like, that's just things people know, that whole yin and yang and whatever, right? A lot of that's true to your mind. Like, reality and your mind are so intertwined, but you can get lost in both. You know, you can just live a purely, like, I know people, great people, like, solid people. I sound like Trump, eh? Great, amazing people. I know people, I know things. Yeah, anywho. That are just, they're not deep thinkers, man. They're just not. They see the world and the surface for what it is, and they're cool with it, man. my one brother, right? I got a huge family. Kyle, he's very much that way, man. He's not a deep thinker. He probably had a deep thought or two, for sure, but like that's not him, man. He loves the earth that he was on. He's gonna find a job using his hands because that's what he enjoys. He likes good physical work, and a lot of us are like that. Like I could not just do nothing. I like being physical too, but some of us like computers and some of us like physical work, and the rest of us are in between. But yeah, he really enjoys that simple life and doesn't overthink. And then there's me, who I've spent, well, the earliest memory I have is when I lost my finger, but I highly doubt that might be a made-up memory. So the real memory that I can think of, probably 6 or 7, and where I started questioning like everything. And I have a strong faith. It's what kept me going. I don't judge people for theirs, or lack of. I got friends all across the board. What gets you through life is what's important. But there's great messages to be learned through faith. That aside, again, deep thinker, and a crazy thinker. As you can tell in the 30 minutes that I've talked, I haven't been able to keep onto one track. If this conversation was a track, it wouldn't be going in circles. It'd be going dead ends everywhere, right? Like, what's this got to do with your podcast? But anywho, positive breeds positive. The next 5 minutes are just going to be me shouting out people I love. So we got my boy, Jeff Lowell, who runs a driveway sealing company. Like he quit his job to go do that. That's probably not his dream job, but he no longer wanted to be, that guy that had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to make some dead guy's dream come true. And I respected that so much, and stay in touch with him and whatnot. And we play ball hockey, and like I said, he's the best. He's the best there is for driveway ceilings, man. It's under what's Dave Superior Driveway Sealing. If it's not superior, it's fucking inferior. So just remember that shit. I got, oh my gosh, my other brother Christopher, they're twins, those two. He's got big dreams, and if you want to check it out, he's Comic Dude 14, and what he's doing is he's in the works of the very first issue of Legend of Creature, right? Which is comics. He's making comic books, and it's superheroes and all that jazz. And like I said, if you want to know more about it, I'm gonna have him on my podcast at one point. But in the meantime, you can go to The World Is Ours on Instagram. I'm still figuring out the whole friggin' social media game on its own separate thing. I got beefs with Instagram. I thought I could just take people's stuff and upload it and help spread the message. And it doesn't work that way. I gotta have people actually directly text it to me or what, I don't know. So that might not work out. But I'm gonna figure out a way and a platform to reach other people, like-minded people, and spread the word in my dream of community and love, and just helping us that are currently making dead people's dreams come true to making living people's dreams come true, man. Because there's always going to be someone else to go fill that shoe, right? And so why don't we go and make our own community and make our own group? Be like Jay-Z, be like Jordan Peterson, be like, and they seem like totally different spectrums, but they're not. They got their clique, bro. They got their people, and they spread their brand and their love, and to their group of crowd. You're not always gonna have, a lot of people are gonna hear this and be like, yo, fuck you. You don't know my life. You don't know the shit I've been through. And no, I don't. Not at all. Unless you're my homie and you told me and you talked about it and you shared it with me, then I know. Then I can relate. Then I can understand. But otherwise, you know, you have your point of views, and you might be like me a year ago, where you're lost. Wow, it only took me 35 minutes to get home? Oh, I guess no one else is working, right? It's just us, you know, new essential workers. Yeah, on a side note, I really hope that sports comes back real soon. I'm pretty fucking excited about that, especially with the playoffs and everything with the NHL. Sorry, I really get distracted when I'm doing something in the car, you know, like I'm focused on that task like you're supposed to. Don't be distracted driving. Well, then it ruins my podcast. Take that, officer. Don't do a podcast in the car. Well, you know what? Damn you. Anyway, and honestly, all this could have went through, and I could be talking to you now, and it's all muddled because I'm talking on my seat, and I have it resting at my dash. So the odds of you being able to hear me are probably pretty slim. But I'm glad I got it out. Like I said, I'm shouting out my boy Frank Lazzarino, Maximus Power, of course Vance, and Uncle Lou, who now does a podcast on iTunes. I did a podcast with him with Downtime years ago. I got super high and did something I was uncomfortable with, which, by the way, don't do that. I don't know why I do it. It's so stupid. Like, when you're high, do things you're comfortable doing when you're high. Like, anywho, it was a shit show, but he was always super nice to me, man. Even though we ruined his podcast by talking shit and then basically not being around after that, he didn't care. He moved forward. Oh, it's windy. You can't hear me. Back into the car. I'm going to sum this up because it's already 36 minutes. But, fucking Uncle Louie had me. And he's got a new podcast. And we're going to keep in touch. And we're going to grow together. And like I was saying, it's surprising how many people are on board with this positive message and believe in my dream. So I'm going to do the hard work and the hustle that needs to be done. And we're going to make dreams come true. All right? Now, I love you guys. Hopefully, the next podcast will be about sports and stuff. Or, COVID. Or hopefully I got someone else too, right? It's hard to do a podcast when you're just talking to yourself and you got no one to rebuttal. So, point is, I'm getting myself out in the world. I love you guys. Peace.